Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, my portfolio is a little bit down today. It's currently sitting at $65,000. This is because of the recent tariff fears that has occurred with the market. In addition, two of my largest positions has declined in value. So FICO, there was news this I believe it was this afternoon regarding its competition, and then Tesla, as I'm sure everybody knows, Elon Musk has decided to create his own political party. So Tesla has taken a small hit too, but I am still green on Tesla. However, the FICO decline is the big one. As of right now, FICO is the only stock that I have not made money on. And FICO is relatively a new position. I just entered into it this year. This is a stock that I hope to hold for many years to come, but there are some competition fears, and that's what we're going to get into today. So why did FICO stock fall today? So the reason is because the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director, Pil Bolte, announced that lenders may start using the Vantage score, a rival to the Fair Isaac Corporation, the company behind the widely recognized FICO score. So what they did was that the government-sponsored company, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, they now have to allow lenders to use the Vantage 4.0 score, which is a joint collaboration made by Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So the top three credit bureaus in the United States, they banded together and created their own scoring system as an alternative to FICO. So that is the main reason why FICO declined by this much today, and they declined by a lot. So if we look at the decline from peak to bottom, so the maximum peak was 19%. However, it's since recovered all the way up to 1,700, and now it's sitting at a decline of almost 9%. So FICO has declined by 9% overall on the day because of the news that the government sponsored company for mortgage-backed securities now have to start allowing the Vantage 4.0 score, which effectively removes FICO's monopoly from the credit scoring system. I obviously do understand concerns and fears that some investors might have. However, I myself am not really all that worried too much. And the reason for that is because this credit score, the Advantage 4.0, is fairly new to the systems. And I don't think any banks will just immediately ditch FICO for the cheaper credit scoring system. And the reason for that is because the FICO score has been proven. It's in their data models. Although the government has recently approved of it, it's still fairly new. So the banks still don't really know what to do with that information. They don't know how reliable it is compared to the FICO score. In the short term, I don't see this as a major risk to FICO. There is a real chance that banks might mandate pulls from both credit scoring systems. If we look at the cost for closing a mortgage, the credit report fee is not even a sliver on the pie. You can't even see it. It is such a small percentage of the credit scoring system. I don't think it's going to be at all relevant to the cost of the mortgage. And if I was the bank, I'm not going to save an extra $10 on issuing, on a mortgage that's even $100,000. So even though there's two systems now, because the cost of pulling the credit is so insignificant compared to everything else, I'm not going to skimp on over just a few extra bucks just so I can save on the credit report. Because the credit report, it is a massive part of the application, and having accurate credit files and charging the correct interest rates is far more important than just saving a few extra bucks. In other news, Elon Musk has decided to form his own political party. That is not something that I agree with. Although Elon Musk, as a private citizen, does have the right to do whatever he wants, I really do think that his obligations to Tesla comes first. And of course, forming another independent party is going to take away time, take away energy away from his own companies. And I personally do not agree with this behavior. The only reason why I'm still invested in Tesla is not because of Elon Musk, it's because I recognize the qualities of Tesla itself. I understand its advantages in terms of self-driving capabilities, energy, its vertical integration, but when it comes to Elon Musk and his own shenanigans, I really do think that it is highly detrimental to the shareholders, and I'm not quite sure if he's actually fulfilling his obligations to the company. We have some commentary by Donald Trump. Let's take a look.
I don't know.
Is that a point Elon Musk?
I don't know. I think we'll have to take a look. We might have to put Doge on Elon. You know what Doge is? Doge is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
The reason why I think Elon Musk is doing this is because I don't think he believes that he got a favorable outcome from Donald Trump. Just for perspective, Trevor Milton has been pardoned by Donald Trump because he donated $1.8 million to his campaign. Now, this has been one of the biggest abuse of presidential powers I've ever seen. And I personally do not ever agree with this pardon. Trevor Milton, he defrauded a lot of investors and costed investors a lot of money. But he got a get out of jail free card because he donated a lot of money to the Trump campaign. Compare that to what Elon Musk did to Donald Trump. Elon Musk did a lot more than $1.8 million. He probably offered benefits well in the hundreds of millions and possibly even billions of dollars to Donald Trump. But in the ways that Donald Trump has repaid Elon, Trump shot down Elon Musk's nomination to lead NASA. He wanted NASA primary directive to go to Mars. However, it was shot down at the last moment for someone who more aligned with the traditional beliefs of the GOP on trying to go to the moon again. And in terms of helping directly with Elon Musk's business, Trump still has decided to take away the EV tax credits. So if you really compare to what Elon Musk got, Trevor Milton got way more from Donald Trump from much less. So he only donated $1.8 million and he got a full pardon, right? All his crimes erased. Meanwhile, Elon Musk provided benefits worth upwards of hundreds of millions, possibly even billions of dollars to Donald Trump. But what he got in return was pretty much almost nothing. But at the same time, again, I really do think Elon Musk's obligations to Tesla really comes first, and him forming a third party is just another distraction. On top of the Twitter acquisition, on top of the supporting a Republican candidate, and now he's forming his own independent party. I will say it again, this has been one hell of a ride, but I am still interested in riding this wave. And on a final note, Google is definitely a stock that can never catch a break. I do believe that Google right now, as well as with Amazon, is one of the best deals in the market. Google is still trading fairly low at a 20 PE ratio. However, if you compare to the growth, revenue, and profit margins, I think they're doing really well. I don't see any slowdown for Google. And again, all the fears regarding Google, I think are unwarranted. I really do hope that the judge sees the competition that is occurring from large language models. It is true that Google did have a monopoly over search. However, I do think that monopoly is waning. Just because the monopoly is waning does not mean that the business is declining. Quite the opposite. I think Google has a long ways to go, and I think Google is going to continue to thrive in the future. If we compare this stock to Microsoft, for example, we can see that Microsoft has done really well over the last few months. I really did wish I bought more back in April, but I didn't. But overall, Microsoft is doing really well. Of course, everyone sees Microsoft as a beneficiary of AI. It's not, its business is not hurt by it. However, if we look at the year-over-year growth, it's actually fairly comparable to what Google has. You know, the revenue growth increased by 13%. Meanwhile, Google is 12%. So again, these are both rapidly growing companies. But then if we look at Microsoft's PE ratio, it's much higher. Of course, there's a lot more to it. I'll cover in detail maybe in a separate video. But overall, I do think that Google does offer a very strong value proposition in the market right now. And both Google and as well with Amazon, those are the two top stocks I am acquiring right now. I will be acquiring a little bit more FICO as well because I do think that the fears are unwarranted. Again, just because the monopoly is going away does not necessarily mean that the business will be in decline. All right, thank you everybody. Have a great day.